So, class, we shall discuss now the falsity and truthfulness of propositions. With regard to falsity and truthfulness of propositions, the following must be taken into account. If the relation of the subject and the predicate is unchangeable, ibig sabihin, essential, that adheres to the nature of the thing, then it is a necessary proposition, essential. For example, a dog is an irrational animal. That is really true. No? The dog is not a rational animal. No dog is enrolled in our Zoom class. And then a triangle has three sides. That is unchangeable. The moment you change it into four sides, then it is not a triangle anymore. So then we go to the next one. Next one, which is the contingent. The contingent proposition. Contingent means they are dependent. Are those having are those having changeable or accidental relations between subject and predicate? So what do we mean by this? Do we mean by this? No, accidental means it's temporary or it is not essential to the person, place, or thing. The predicate is only accidentally related to the subject. This is a philosophical term, accidental. No? Hindi yung accident, hindi na nabanggaan ka ng sasakyan. No? Accidental means it is dependent on time, place, persons, and other things. So, example, Filipinos are hospitable. Not all Filipinos are essentially hospitable. No? Some Filipinos are hospitable. So, this is a contingent proposition. What is meant by the proposition? Proposition is a statement. It is not a question. It is not an interjection. And it is not a command or request. Then we go to the next one. We have the exercises here. Identify its proposition as either necessary or contingent. Man is a rational animal. Necessary or contingent? What's your answer, class? Anyone? Rational ba ang tao o hindi? May intellect ba ang tao o wala? So, walang sumasagot. Okay. So, it is necessary. And then, the streets in Cebu are flooded. Contingent. Kasi not all the time flooded yan. Then, the whole is greater than any of its parts. Of course, necessary. Peter is the leader of the band. Contingent. And cats are always playful. Hindi naman. So, contingent. No, so let's skip this. And we go to the four kinds of categorical propositions. We know it is categorical because it has no condition. Kasi yung opposite ng categorical, which is a statement actually, is conditional. For example, you say, if you believe in Jesus Christ, you shall be saved. So, conditional yan, if you. Pero, for example, you say, you have believed in Jesus Christ, or you are a believer of Jesus Christ, then that is a categorical. Okay. Now let's go to our examples here. Okay. So taking into account both the quality and quantity of the proposition, so people entered the waiting of the proposition at the same time results to four kinds of categorical propositions. These are the number one. Magmana itong mouse ko. There are 31 participants.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, pa-admit daw iban, sir.
Admit. Let me see participants. Admit. Stop share. I don't know where is the Mission. I admit all. Okay. Sige. These are the what happened? Okay. One, the universal or singular affirmative. No? Ibig sabihin ng affirmative, uh, uh, positive. For example, Peter is the first pope. Positive yan. Kung sabihin mo negative, Peter is not the first pope. Yan. Sabihin mo universal, you say all, everyone, applied sa lahat. Singular, Peter. No? Mayroon namang universal, singular, negative. Universal, negative, for example, all men have sinned. Yan, universal. Lahat sin, all men and women. Sabihin mo, uh, Judas has committed a sin. So singular kay Judas lang. Singular has not committed a sin. So singular, negative. So particular, particular affirmative, some or few. Particular yan. Particular negative, some are not Christians. Diba? Some are Buddhists. Some are not Buddhists. Particular negative. Okay? Since the early Middle Ages, these four kinds of categorical propositions have commonly been designated by the letter symbols corresponding to the first four vowels of the Roman alphabet. No? So, E, E, I, O. Kulanan lang dito ang U. So, may color coding ito. No? Blue yung affirmative, red yung negative. So, symbols. A. A stands for the universal or singular affirmative proposition. All men are mortal. Lahat ng mga tao mamamatay. Yeah. So, negative naman, all uh, okay, all students did not attend our class. So, universal, all. Okay. And then I for particular affirmative proposition and uh, O for the particular negative proposition. We will see some examples by and by. The four letters were said to have been derived from the first two vowels in the Latin word affirmo. Itong A at saka I. So, I affirm. No? A at saka I are affirmative. No? Sa affirmo. Tapos, ito ang E at saka O sa Latin word na nego. Meaning to say, I deny. So, ito. This is a universal, no? Universal affirmative. And let's see. This is the negative. Universal negative is E. Then the particular affirmative is I. And then the particular negative is O. Yan. Kita niyo yan sa PDF. Now, the quantity na naman means the number. No? The quantity means it can either be universal or singular, or it is particular. The quality is it's either affirmative or negative. Okay. Then we have this proposition and then the symbol, the quantity, and the quality. All men are mortal beings. Is that affirmative or negative? Affirmative. Is that universal or particular? Universal. So it is universal affirmative and we have the symbol A. Some men are God-fearing. So some dito, quality niya is particular. Tapos are affirmative. Kung sabihin natin are not, negative yan. So some men are God-fearing is actually particular affirmative. Then Jesus Christ is the Son of God. So ito, Singular ito, na single out si Jesus Christ dito eh. No? Tapos, yan ay affirmative. Kung sabihin mo, Jesus Christ is not the Son of God, singular, negative. Cows are not horses, no? Cows are not horses. So we have universal negative. The next, proposition, some houses are not strong. Uh, you just go over it. No, it's there in your PDF. Note, all X are Y, universal affirmative. And then all men are rational beings, universal affirmative. Uh, then universal negative, no X are Y. Ito mga symbolism dito eh. A particular uh, affirmative, some X are Y, and then particular negative, some X are not Y. For example, all men are called to follow God, universal affirmative. All men are, so affirmative. And then some men will not be saved. No? So some dito, particular, will not, ito ay negative. No? So particular negative. Okay, class, do you understand? Now let's go to the next PowerPoint slide presentation. Ito na naman, categorical proposition. So I encourage everyone to read also your handouts while you attend my lectures. So they are complementary. We talk about categorical proposition. I said by way of contrast that categorical proposition is the opposite of conditional proposition. So in Aristotelian logic, it is the categorical proposition which is most useful in determining the validity of an inference. Validity, ibig sabihin, the correctness. Ang inference nito is the reasoning process. Kasi logic is the science of correct reasoning. So we have the term, which is word or words, the proposition, which is the statement, and then combining the propositions, we will go to inference or the reasoning. We will know whether it's correct or not. It is considered the proposition proper. No? So ito na ang hanap ng mga tao because its assertion about something is absolute, meaning it is either true or false without any qualification or condition. So this is it. Categorical proposition. So next is how can it move? Ayun. Categorical proposition is very useful in setting issues, as in debates. So ako, I have been into many formal radio and TV debates, and then in the YouTube. And not for the sake of debating alone, but for the sake of truth, actually. So just a purpose. And debates are not useless because in Senate and in Congress, before a bill becomes a law, debatihan mo na yan. Yung pros and cons. Baka makakasama sa mga tao yan. Hindi. No? Tulad ng vaccine ito. Yan. Ito ba'y ilalapat sa mga tao? Hindi. Nakakasama ba ito? Hindi. For it asserts the unconditional validity or falsity of the conclusion of one's argument. It is for this reason that the discussions that follow focus on categorical proposition. Okay, let's follow this one. Basic components. So, dali na. Yeah. The categorical proposition kunin na natin siguro ang picture nito. Video. What happened? The categorical proposition as an unconditional statement of assertion or denial consists of three basic components. No? So tatlong parts talaga ito, which are the subject term, the predicate term, and the copula. No? Kung sa English grammar natin ito dadalhin, sa sentence, mayroong subject. No? And then, mayroong linking verb or auxiliary verb. And then, mayroong predicate. No? Mayroong simuno, which is the subject, and panaguri, which is the predicate kung sa Tagalog pa. The subject term is something which is asserted or denied. This is usually accompanied by a quantifier such as all. Quantifier ito, ibig sabihin modifier ito. So, sabihin mo, all apostles left Jesus Christ during his agony. Ayan. So, apostles now, yung all is quantifier. Or some apostles left him. A few men will enter into the narrow road. Many are going into the wide road. No one goes to heaven except by the grace of God. None, several. So the predicate term is that which is asserted or denied of the subject. So, mo, halimbawa, okay, John is one of the 12 apostles. John is the subject, and then one of the 12 apostles, predicate. So, now, magkakaiba rin yung logic na style, no? Yung subject term and predicate term kaysa English grammar natin or Filipino grammar. We will see by and by. The copula, which is a form of the verb to be, is, are, is not, are not, am not, is the connecting link, no? Parang bigay link ito, between the subject and the predicate terms. It has been described as the soul, parang kaluluwa, of the proposition because it expresses verbally the affirmation or negation, is or is not. Example, Jesus is the Messiah. Or sabihin mo, Jesus is not the Messiah because the Jews or during his time denied that he is the Messiah. Yan. Its function is either to join the subject, and predicate, as in whales are mammals. So, na-join itong whales at saka mammals. Kasi may mammary gland itong mga whales. Yan. Isda na mammal, no? Parang land animal, no? Mga dogs na mammal, no? Nagpapabibi sa kanilang mga anak. Or separate the subject and the predicate terms, as in the lawyer is not a member of the academic council. So, hindi siya, halimbawa, member sa school kasi busy siya sa lawyering niya sa courts. Yeah. So, this is the function of the copula. Copula is the linking verb kung sa ating English grammar. In the proposition, all patients are given medical treatment. The subject term is patients. Patients. The quantifier is all. So, how many patients? Some, few, or all? All patients. Quantifier. The copula is the verb are. All patients are given medical treatment. And the predicate term is given medical treatment. It should be borne in mind that subject term and predicate term in logic do not mean the same as subject and predicate in grammar. No? Just like, for example, in logic, the proposition is not equivalent to all kinds of sentences. Because in English grammar, there are four. No? Mayroong declarative, mayroong imperative, mayroong mayroong interjectory, no? And mayroon ding command, imperative, no? Yan. So, Pero yung statement lang talaga, hindi yung command, hindi yung interjectory, hindi yung interrogatory question. So, in the same way, sa logic, iba din yung subject term at saka predicate term. You will see in our example. The subject of the statement, all patients are given medical treatment, includes the quantifier all, kung sa grammar, all patients. No? And yun ang subject. But the subject term does not sa logic naman, patients lang ang subject term. No? Similarly, the predicate includes the copula are. Kung sa English grammar, sabihin mo, anong uh, predicate dito? Are given medical treatment. Yan ang predicate yan. Pero sa logic, predicate term ay tinatawag natin na given medical treatment. Yan. Yung are is not a predicate term, it is a copula. Okay, can you follow, class? Yan ang sinasabi natin na I need to explain this because this will enhance your understanding. Kaya kayo may teacher, binabayaran nyo yung teacher to help you understand. No? And the teacher has the duty to really give lecture to the students. Hindi lang yung puro activities, yung teacher check lang ng check na activities. Sa akin, boring yan eh. Check lang ako ng check, hindi ako nagre-lecture. No? Yan. What's the use of becoming a teacher? Halimbawa, hindi ka naman mag-lecture. So, components, no? Ito logic, ito grammar, English grammar, halimbawa, no? Which is related also to our Filipino grammar. Convention yun namin, pinag-agrihan yan dyan. Quantifier, all in logic. In grammar, hindi niyan ini-include dito. Ini-include dyan sa subject, all patients. Yan. Pero sa logic, patients lang. Ang copula are, actually linking verb ito sa grammar. Pero sa logic, ang predicate term is given treatment. Sa English grammar, are given treatment predicate. Okay? I hope you understand, class. Standard form. Ito, kasi even in English grammar, mayroong mga inverted na sentence. No? For example, I am teasing through Zoom. No? So, pwede mo yan ma-invert. No? Through Zoom, I am teasing. Ayan. Pero sa logic naman, mayroong standard form. The standard form of the categorical proposition refers to the pattern or arrangement of the essential or basic components of the proposition into a logical unit. Analysis of the propositions given above revealed this basic form or structure. Ayan. Subject term, and then copula and predicate term. Ayan. So, hindi mo pwede unahin yung predicate term, tapos copula, tapos subject term. Hindi. No? So, ito ang standard form. Some categorical propositions are not in standard form because they do not have all three basic components. Mga iba-iba yan. No? The mga statements. No? We will go into that later on. For logical purposes, this will call for transforming them. Pupunta tayo later on deduction. Deduction, pag-transform ng isang proposition into different ways. But we will go into it later. Transforming them to their standard form, that is recasting. 10 minutes lang tayo. Recasting them so as to have all the three components present. Very straight. Ito na. Original form. John writes a book. Standard form. John, subject, is, yan, copula, a person who writes a book. Original form. Mothers love their children. Sabi mo, saan dito ang copula nito? Mahirapan ka maghanap ng copula. That's why, i-transform mo siya into categorical form. Mothers are those who love their children. So mayroong subject, mayroong copula na affirmative, mayroong predicate term, those who love their children. Cats have whiskers. Cats are animals that have whiskers. Kung minsan may dinadagdag ka na mga words dito, no? So yun mo hindi talaga perfect na transformation ito kasi may dinagdag ka na words. Yan, para lang makuha mo yung standard form. Yan. Analysis of the above illustration reveals that to transform the original propositions on the left column to their standard forms, some additional words may be required. Yan. So adding terms. For instance, in the first proposition above, is a person were added to such that the transformed proposition has now a copula is. Yan, hinahanap natin, kailangan may copula, which is missing in the original position. Ano yung copula? Copula, of course, it unites. Copula. So, in transforming proposition into their standard forms, care must be taken that the original message or content of the proposition as well as their tense must be retained in the transformation. John writes the book. John is writing a book. So we will discuss that later on. It seems that the author here is quite confused of progressive term or continuous term, no? Present progressive. So we have some examples from the Bible. Whoever believes in him shall be saved. Whoever is believing in him shall be saved. Present progressive term yun tense in John 2:16. So ibig sabihin, you believe every day of your life. Quality. Quality is either affirmative or negative. All X are Y, some cars are small. I'm a Filipino. Okay. The negative is not, are not, I'm not. Yan. Quality naman yan. Negative, no X or Y, no cats are small. So I am not approving abortion and divorce. So negative yan with the word not. Yan ang kopila natin. I am not. Men are not rational animals. God is not the cause of temptations. Yan. Dinadagdagan ko ng mga sentences dito na may theological import naman. Kasi sa akin parang boring yung mga examples ng mga sentence na mga walang theological meaning, no? Being a theology teacher also. No? Quantity, yung either universal, singular, or particular. No? All, every, everyone, whoever, whichever. Yan. Examples, all animals are rational. No? Some have departed from the faith. No? Some, yeah. So, tapos na, no? Stop recording. Okay na, class?